have I got news for you. Curious, who wants to hear the news just by this opening slide? Let me hear you say, what's the news?
What's the news?
Ooh, I thought so. Well, the truth is, my friends, I've got good news and bad news. And I always like to know who's in the audience. So if you like to hear the good news first, give me a thumbs up. If you're the kind of person that likes to hear the bad news first and get it out of the way, give me a thumbs down. Ow, I had a hunch. So let's give your brain what it wants. The bad news is that the news is killing you, and not the way you think. Let me be clear, when I'm talking about bad news, I'm talking about all the negative, exhausting, wasteful, and stressful news that is hijacking your nervous system. I'm talking about the endless stream of external noise, the emails, the notifications, the social media doom scrolling, the trolls, the mental health crisis, the suicide rate, the skills gap, the rise of AI. When you think about workplace, chronic stress, worry, and anxiety, you can trust a few things in this world. It's death, taxes, and the daily news serving up chaos to grab your attention and distract you from what's most important. You see, your brain is actually wired to pay attention to news. Did you know it's wired to pay attention to bad news? It's no wonder that over 50% of the US workforce is reporting feeling burnt out. Over 50% of college students are reporting some kind of academic burnout, and a whopping 80% of recent college graduates are reporting feeling worried about workplace stress and burnout, which is causing them from applying to jobs or keeping it for very long. Burnout is a crisis. But stress and burnout are not the enemy. Lack of awareness is. This is a state of chronic stress, fatigue, and exhaustion that goes unnoticed. And I know because I've been there a few times. And my guess is that many of you have too. And if you haven't, it's likely you're afraid you're headed in that direction. But let's take a breath, because I told you I had good news and bad news. If you're ready to hear some good news, let me hear you say, what's the news?
What's the news?
All right, I want to make sure we're still here together. The good news is that burnout is not inevitable. Burnout is 100% preventable and reversible. I'm living proof. You can go from a state of exhaustion to empowerment. And it could be a lot easier than you think with small micro habits. In my own journey burning out as a college student, as a young working professional working as an event planner for government, nonprofit, corporations, and higher ed, I burnt out in every single one of those jobs. I realized that you don't only burn out doing jobs you hate. It turns out you burn out doing jobs you love. It happened to me in every single one of those industries, and then I thought, it must be a toxic workplace environment. I'll go and start my own business. I can do it better. I didn't. I burnt out worse. And what brought me back from a state of exhaustion to burnout were these small micro habits, and I only have enough time to show you one today. And rather than teach it to you, I thought we could practice it together. You want to practice it with me?
Yes.
The way to tune out the external noise and tune into yourself, I call your internal news compass. And right here, right now, wherever you find yourself, I want you to notice what you're paying attention to. In this present moment, notice, where's your physical body? Notice your thoughts. Notice your breath. Take a nice deep inhale with me. Exhale, let it go. I want you to inhale again and experience that breath as if it's the first breath you've paid attention to all day. As you notice and experience this present moment in your life, I want you to tune in and ask yourself, what do I need right now? What small thing can shift your well-being? And lastly, when you lay your head down at night tonight, what would make you feel successful? And I am not talking about accomplishing your massive to-do list, but rather to consider your to-be wish. Do you wish to be happy, calm, clear, confident, satisfied at the end of the day? Take a nice deep breath and smile because you just did it. Whatever came up for you right there in this moment, that's the news that it's worth paying more of your attention to morning, noon, and night. Because what you will discover is that that is your internal news compass guiding you in the direction of well-being and success. One that actually energizes you and doesn't exhaust you. We've forgotten how to turn off the noise. And I know this personally because back in 2018, when I was first invited to stand on this little red dot and deliver a TED Talk, what was completely invisible to anyone is that I was recovering from burnout. After 2 decades of producing large-scale events for nonprofit, government, municipalities, corporations, with no self-care skills, I burnt out doing work that I loved. On top of that, I was 3 months pregnant, fighting a migraine and these lights on stage, but I did it. I was trying to pivot from an event planner to a keynote speaker. And my journey from 2018 to 2025, delivering my second TED Talk, has been nothing short of transformational and inspiring to me. Because I began to notice my own experience and treat myself with as much kindness as I was preaching that everybody else did for others. That transformation from who I was to who I am was based on these small little micro habits like your internal news compass. So when people ask me, how did you survive the 2020 and the pandemic and COVID shutting down the live events industry? Well, my husband and I were both in the live events industry, and we were both out of work within a week. I had a 1.5-year-old toddler. I was pregnant with my second child, and I was getting emails after emails and calls and notifications, canceling events left and right, asking for refunds. I was stressed. I was stressed and I was scared just like everyone else, but my friends, I was not shaken. I asked my husband to leave the room. I pulled out my yoga mat and I cried. I sobbed for a few moments. And I tuned into my internal news compass. And I was so calm and clear and confident as to how I could pivot in my business that within 30 days, my husband and I launched a podcast. I began teaching wellness at work experiences from my living room, connecting teams from across the nation who were stressed, disconnected, and burnt out, helping them get reconnected and recharged and back to work. I even started an online course to help people stress less. This was actually 1 week before I gave birth to my second baby. And this year, I hosted my 4th annual Global Mental Health Summit to elevate wellness at work. And today, I'm able to stand up here and brag about the business and the life that I've been able to create. And not just to be braggadocious, but to be real and grateful that there is a path from burnout to breakthrough, and it's a lot easier than you think. Today, my life is well balanced, I like to say, between motherhood, entrepreneurship, and helping leaders build burnout-resistant cultures. And this is my definition of success today, no longer defined by how many events I've booked, how big my bank account is, how many awards or titles I can accrue. Success to me now is defined on a daily basis by how well I feel and by the presence of love, joy, kindness, and peace in my daily experience. So I want to pause and ask you, my friends, how do you define success? And is that definition supporting your well-being, or silently killing you too. I want you to trust that you have this internal news compass within you because it's based on science and a timeless spiritual law. And that law is this: you are what you love, and you love whatever you give your attention to. So all I'm up here asking you to do today is to consider what you're giving your attention to. And if it's the kind of negative, exhausting, wasteful, and stressful news that consumes this world, just know that I'm not standing up here judging you or shaming you in any way. Rather, just a friend reminding you that you are trading your sense of clarity for chaos, your sense of peace for worry and anxiety, and your precious energy for exhaustion. Instead, I want to empower you with a new tool, your internal news compass that can allow you to notice what you're giving your attention to on a daily basis, to tap into your present moment experience, prioritize your well-being, and define success on your own terms. Because just like a compass relies on the Earth's magnetic field to work, your internal news compass relies on an invisible force too. And this is the idea that I wish you would help me make viral news. That invisible force is kindness. Kindness towards yourself, kindness towards others, and kindness as the foundation of our workplace wellness cultures. Without it, that compass doesn't work. But with it, as your guiding star, you can navigate anything. Without kindness as that North Star, this internal news compass is just a clever acronym. It's just another useless self-help tool out there because, as some of you in here know, I'm a serial acronomist. And that means I love creating acronyms and I obsessively use them. So whether you think it's a clever acronym or not is not the point, but whether you use it to empower you to create the life that you want. If that sounds like good news to you, can I hear you say, what's the news?
What's the news?
Good. Because I want to leave you with this. The bad news, my friends, is that we can't control the news that we wake up to each day. But we can always control the source that we tune into. And my hope is that after this talk, you now have a tool, your internal news compass, to make sure that you are paying to the news that matters most to you. Thank you.